Today we're driving the all-new 2024 Mercedes-Benz GLC 300. This is powered by a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder and a 48-volt mild hybrid system. It makes 255 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. It's all-wheel drive. Starting price is around $50,000. Spec'd with a few options, this is a little over 61 grand. Let's walk you around this today, talk about what it's been like to live with this week. I wasn't as impressed with the previous generation GLC, especially in 2023. However, this new car is very promising and shows a lot of improvements. I do like the way it looks. Let's hop inside, we'll start it up, we'll walk you around this, and then we'll take it for a drive. All right, so inside this GLC 300, we have kind of a familiar looking interior. This seems to be the new corporate Mercedes-Benz interior, very similar to what we've seen in the new S-Class. For the money, it's a very nice place to be. Materials feel very good. We have leather on a lot of our surfaces. These vents are just some of the coolest looking air vents that I've seen in the business. Nice engine stop-start button that you can actually see from the driver's seat, not hidden behind the steering wheel. A lot of screens and a lot of touch controls. Similar kind of vertical tablet display here as we've seen in the new S-Class, and a lot of piano black plastic, for better or for worse. It's been looking a little bit rough this week after a few days of just very light use, a lot of dust, a lot of fingerprints, and it's kind of difficult to clean off these steering wheel controls because even when you turn the car off, the infotainment is still running and you're changing settings accidentally. So you have to kind of be careful with that. But otherwise, I found the ergonomics in this GLC 300 to be pretty good. This infotainment is quite simple. You kind of get this home screen navigation page that's your default page. Constant climate controls down here. You can change your auto fan speed settings, your temperature display. There is a climate menu where you can change your airflow direction. Supposedly this GLC has a heated steering wheel. I haven't been able to find the button for that for the life of me all week. So they've done a really good job of hiding that, but we do get heated and ventilated seats here on the side, and you can turn them both on at the same time, which is total baller status in my mind. Auto up-down windows on all 4 corners, 3-seat memory settings, tons of adjustability here with our driving position. Tilting telescoping wheel, mechanically operated, of course. We get paddle shifters behind the wheel, our column shifter, which I just love in these Mercedes products. Nice looking reverse and 360 camera. Wireless charging under there, and the phone does stay pretty well centered on the element, and it maintains a good charge, which is nice, not floating around even with my weird case and camera bump. We get a couple USB ports down there, water bottle holders, and a place to put your key right here too, but mostly I'm just going to leave that covered because it looks a little bit better. A little bit more room down here in our center console, and we get a huge panoramic sunroof. All those controls are swipe right here. Not a lot of physical buttons in this GLC. I would really, really love to have a volume knob or something, or a slider. These volume controls are pretty difficult to operate. So let's say I just play a track here. It's either too loud or too quiet. Even on the steering wheel, I feel like I don't have good enough adjustments. I kind of just want to use the screen, which is, again, shouldn't be the case. It's kind of distracting. So I would like a physical volume control that's not a slider. Only major complaint about this infotainment though, otherwise it seems to be pretty simplified, easy to use. You can go into your settings. You've got a favorites menu right here where you can kind of customize what you want. Ambient lighting. Our gauge cluster here is very familiar, very similar to what we've seen in many other Mercedes products. You get this home screen. You can choose between a bunch of different gauge displays: understated, sport, navigation, which is just a big map, driving assistance, which is kind of minimal. I kind of like that actually. Off-road, and there's even a service display here which shows us coolant temperature, engine oil, mileage, tire pressures, tire temperatures. Look at that. That's pretty neat. We'll just leave it on the classic gauge display. I think this is nice and looks good. So that's a pretty quick overview of the interior. Let's hop out back. Let's see what type of room we have in the rear seats and the trunk. I'm 5'10". This is my driving position. Boy, look at this funky looking headrest. That's fun. Lots of room underneath the seat to put my feet. And this does jut out quite a bit. I'd be a little bit concerned fitting taller passengers up front with a rear-facing child seat. Otherwise, though, you should have plenty of room for anyone you want to put in the back of your GLC. Lots of headroom, even with this panoramic sunroof. I like this door pull. Look at the ambient lighting. Very classy. You can choose between a number of colors, almost infinite color variations with the ambient lighting in this Mercedes. Rear vents aren't nearly as high quality or impressive as the front vents, but that's okay. At least they're there. Doors feel nice and solid. I like the way this close sounds. Tailgate lifts up pretty quickly too. We've got a rear cargo cover. Fold down those rear seats pretty easily too, and the front seats will even move forward to kind of make room for them. Spare tire, compact, that's okay, it works. And pretty nice loading floor here in the back of this GLC, about what you'd expect for an SUV in this class. I think it's a good looking option. A few different packages in this GLC 300. I'll include all that info in the description. About 10 grand in options here. Let's take a look under the hood really quickly, and then we'll go for a drive. This GLC is rated for 23 miles to the gallon in the city and 31 MPG on the highway. All week with mostly city driving, I've been averaging about 24, 25, which is pretty good in this car. Considering it's all-wheel drive, it's an SUV. The mild hybrid system is very smooth, especially with stop-start. You'll notice when we started up this car, there was zero starter noise, and you'll just kind of see the RPMs drop to zero occasionally at a stop and rise up when we lift off the brake pedal while we're driving. So keep an eye out for that. Very smooth 48-volt mild hybrid system in this GLC. 2-liter turbo puts out pretty good power too, and it's reasonably quiet, reasonably smooth. Sounds kind of like a diesel at lower revs sometimes, but that's okay. I do like these larger optional 20-inch wheels. 285 40 R20s in the rear and 255 45 R20s up front. Bit of a staggered setup. Lots of warning messages. It does not like me just sitting here, so let's go for a drive. We'll even open up Apple CarPlay. Oh my goodness. All right. Here's your reverse and 360 camera. It says there is something behind me, even though there isn't. Pretty good turning radius. Very quick steering ratio. Only about 2 turns lock to lock. Let's take a look at our 360 cam here. Can kind of rotate around the vehicle. That's fun. Look at that. Don't even have to get out of the car for the walk around. We can just do it right here in the comfort of our ventilated seat. Yeah, once you get used to the operation of this infotainment, it's pretty quick to use. Sometimes it's a bit laggy, but for the most part, it's nice and responsive. And everything seems to be laid out pretty well on that home screen so that you can quickly press it. We have good visibility here out of this GLC 300. Nice high driving position. Very comfortable behind the wheel here. Good throttle response off the line. Brake pedal feels very natural, very normal. And you do get a small power charge meter down here showing you how much torque feel the car is giving you at light throttle, or how much regenerative braking is happening in the background. Ride quality is nice too, pretty quiet over bumps. Really light steering. Love the effortlessness of just driving this casually around in tight environments. This would be a great city car. Doesn't feel too big on the road. You know, good sight lines, good visibility everywhere. And it feels kind of agile, nimble, and light. A lot of that is just down to the control weights and the minimal effort required to kind of operate this car. Occasionally you do get a little bit of hesitation off the line when those RPMs do drop to 0 and the car turns off to save fuel. But again, it's if you're not in a rush, that mild hybrid system does kick the engine on very quickly. And it's one of the smoothest stop-start systems I've used, except for something like a Toyota or Lexus hybrid system. We get pretty easy to use cruise controls down here on the steering wheel. We can swipe for 1 mile-an-hour changes or button press for 5 mile-an-hour changes. You can also control your following distance and set steering assist to default in the menus here. Overall, pretty easy car to drive and live with. Pretty good power. Not the most inspiring engine note from this 2-liter 4-cylinder, but it gets the job done. This 9-speed automatic makes really quite good shift decisions on the go. It's well programmed, nice and smooth, very comfortable, no complaints there. You do get paddle shifters behind the wheel, and we get a sport mode too. Pretty responsive. Then again, this is no AMG, and you're not necessarily going to be driving it like one. NVH is quite good on the highway. Not a lot of wind, tire, or road noise. Give you guys a taste of passing power there. Nice and comfy at speed. Let's do a quick sound system test. Listen to this Bua Mesta premium audio. See if we can get our volume right here. It just takes a delicate touch. That's what it is. Adaptive cruise control doing an excellent job navigating some traffic here. Slowing down, speeding up, keeping a good following distance. And the steering assist system does work quite well in this GLC. It's not too intrusive. I don't feel like it's ripping the wheel out of my hands. It's keeping us nicely centered between the nut lines, not prompting me too often to keep my hands on the wheel. Sitting here on the highway in 9th gear, 75 miles an hour, about 1,300 RPM. Not too bad. Suspension really does a nice job soaking up the bumps. No extra body motions over big impacts. Seems pretty well controlled and nicely isolated in this GLC. All right, let's put us into sport mode here. It's gonna hold higher revs, a lower gear. Give us a bit extra engine note, even though it is artificial. Pretty quick around a corner, honestly. Good chassis, nice handling. Surprisingly light on its feet. We also get an eco mode over here, and that will just more aggressively use the stop-start system, and it'll even turn off the engine when you lift off the throttle. So let's say you're going downhill or you're just coasting, those RPMs will drop to 0 occasionally, just to save a little bit of extra fuel. This actually is a pretty nice drive mode to use on a daily basis. Throttle response isn't too muted, and you can see we're kind of gaining back some fuel mileage here on this hill. It's coasting wonderfully. Even on a slight grade, we're maintaining speed. Very efficient, very little drag here. That's pretty neat. If you press the brakes, or of course if you press the accelerator, the engine will fire right back up. And it's pretty quick to do so. Alright guys, those are some initial thoughts on the new 2024 Mercedes-Benz GLC 300. A pretty large improvement. Overall, it just feels like a much higher quality product too. It's better built, it's better spec'd. I feel like this really does kind of punch a little bit above its weight for the money and for the class. Very competitive with other options from BMW and Audi. And I think Mercedes has done a nice job here with one of their higher volume entry-level SUVs. So anyway, that's gonna be a wrap for this video. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Hey, remember your phone.
Thank you. Wouldn't want to forget that. Oh, fake exhaust tips. Forgot to mention that. So, that's okay. Can't have it all in 2024. Pretty beefy looking braking system too. Ventilated rotors, drilled. Yeah, okay. Here's the spec sheet on this car. 49.1 MSRP. We have a panorama roof. It's a $1,500 option. Driving assistance package, $1,950. AMG line. AMG body styling, brushed aluminum sport pedals with rubber studs, MB-Tex instrument panel and belt lines. $3,400 for this AMG line package, and it's just kind of aesthetic stuff. Could do without with that. Exclusive trim, surround view, guard 360, Burmester sound system, illuminated door sills, enhanced ambient lighting. That's a nice package. $2,250. You got to get the ambient lighting with these Mercedes-Benz products. It really enhances the experience of driving these cars, especially at night.